Welcome back to another episode of Everything Korea Office Chats. This is Don Southerton, so pull up your chair, grab a coffee, and we'll go ahead and get started. First, I'd like to thank everyone for subscribing to the YouTube channel, liking, and sharing the posts. Your comments are also deeply appreciated, and I'll be covering a few at the end of the program today. Now, with the Lunar Holiday weekend winding down, Korean teams and leadership will be back in the office. We'll also see that Q1 work pace speed up, especially for task force, TFTs, as leadership will expecting now that the holiday is behind us, they'll be looking for updates and some real progress. Now, I also often find project flow as sprints versus marathons. By that I mean weeks, even months of preparation, benchmarking, and correspondence at a constant rate can now shift to sprinting to meet deadlines or prompted by leadership calling for status reports. In any case, it's important to recognize and be prepared to what may have been moving at that constant pace will now require considerably more time and attention. Turnaround time on what has been maybe days now could be hours, especially for the Western and Korean teams working together. Again, noting there's time differences, and it's not uncommon for Korean teams emailing requests with hopes for a very quick reply. Now, as a hint, and to streamline the process, I find working with teams in Korea, especially on off hours, that Kakao and other messages systems like that work really well. You have to sort of check with your team there and see what they prefer. To sum things up, staying flexible is the key when working with Korean teams. Projects ebb and flow. Some slow down, some stall, others speed up. Recognizing this, you can adjust and meet expectations, something your Korean teams and colleagues will more than appreciate and respect. Okay, let's shift now and look at a couple recent comments. I've been asked, when do I plan to go back to Korea? Well, last year with COVID, in 2 of my trips, I was granted exceptions from the mandatory 2-week quarantine. I have to thank my friends at Kotra and West Korea New York City office for their support in making this happen. Now, for 2021, I'm really thinking and looking at the changes that may be in place, are going to be in place. And they'll be merely, I think, working around whether you have indoctrinations, and of course, always testing negative before you go. Now, I'm hoping for an April trip. I'll keep everyone updated on my travel plans, especially for meeting with teams in Korea. Meanwhile, I'm open to Zooms, meetings, and chats. Now, another comment. Another frequent question that has showed up a lot during the last week or two, and both by Korean teams and by Western teams, is my read on the trends for 2021. My short answer is, like in the U.S., I see very sector-driven. By that I mean hospitality and travel will take a lot of time to recover. But technology, and especially mobility, I think will be very aggressive, and there'll be a lot of opportunities next year. Now, I'm following a number of high-profile MOUs, JVs, and partnerships in this tech mobility sector between the Western and Korean companies. My concern is hopes and expectations always run high, but can soon stall. So once that honeymoon phase is over and working teams get really deep into it, things can really come to a grinding halt. Few ever go as planned. Early intervention is the key. And as always, I can be more specific, so if you have a timely question, please feel free to reach out to me and we can discuss. I'd like to wrap up this week's episode. I'll post a written copy of this dialogue in the chat below. Always feel free to reach out. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Also, we always appreciate you sharing and liking the post. Again, this is Don Southerton wishing you all the best, and please stay safe.